continue destroying our natural habitats and we continue to discriminate and oppress people. That the German governments are making deals and compromises with fossil fuel companies such as the RWE is shameful. It shows us exactly where we are. It shows us their priorities. It is not people. It is profits. Once again. But when governments and corporations fail like they are doing now, people are stepping up. You are stepping up. It shouldn't have to be that way. But yet, that is how we are. And this is a betrayal towards all present and future generations. The fact that all of you are here is a sign of hope. This is only a part of a much larger global climate movement, a movement for climate and social justice, and racial justice. Lützerath, what happens in Lützerath doesn't stay in Lützerath.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about old Greta, who has recently been removed by German police from the site of a massive climate change protest at a coal mine in Germany. Now, the Germans are planning on expanding a coal mine because, you know, Europe is in an energy crisis, considering how they're at war with Russia, right? So they need energy. They need to establish energy independence. And you know what's not going to help achieve energy independence? Trying to rely on so-called renewables, okay? Wind, solar. The technology is just not there yet. So they got to rely on old-fashioned coal, right? Old-fashioned coal, okay? And Greta don't like that. Her and her bandit of woke revolutionary climate activists, they don't like that. So they decided to show up to, again, the site of the expansion of a coal mine in Germany to protest. And let's just say that that didn't end up too well for Greta. Take a look. Yeah, so that's old Greta and her band of climate extremists essentially getting forced off of the land by police, okay? And it wasn't just Greta that showed up. Also, Antifa was at this protest as well, too. Yeah, so you had Greta, who took the time to stop worrying about what's in Andrew Tate's pants, to go out there and protest, and you also had Antifa as well, too. Again, must have been a great party, right? Must have been a great party. But yeah, ultimately, they ended up getting removed. But this was a massive protest. This was like there were thousands of people out there protesting the expansion of this coal mine. So let's read about it. German police reportedly removed 20-year-old climate change activist Greta Thunberg from the site of a massive protest over the demolition of an abandoned village for the expansion of a coal mine. Thunberg, a self-proclaimed Swedish autistic climate justice advocate, joined thousands of demonstrators who showed up Saturday to protest the clearance of the hamlet of Lützerath, walking through the nearby village of Kienberg and past muddy fields in western Germany. On Sunday, Thunberg again failed with police requests to leave the site before two police officers carried her away. The German newspaper Bild reported, showing a photo of Thunberg smiling with two officers, each wearing a helmet outfitted with a face shield on each side, taking her by the arms. According to Bild, German police said that 70 officers were injured and 9 protesters were taken to the hospital in an ambulance during the weekend demonstrations, though no one was seriously injured. Organizers of the protest, however, claimed Saturday several demonstrators were critically hurt. Okay, so here's the thing. 70 officers were injured, okay, and 9 protesters were taken to the hospital. 70 officers were injured. To me, it sounded like a violent protest. It sounded to me like they should have made some arrests, Okay. Again, I'm for freedom of speech, right? I'm for these climate, protesters, even though I don't agree with them, saying what they got to say. But these people have got to the point where they become violent, okay? And at some point, you got to start locking them up and setting an example out of some of them to show that, hey, there are consequences when you start to get violent, when you are disrupting people in their way of life because you're mad that the sun is too hot, right? Or in this case, it's too cold, okay? Because it's cold as hell, okay? We need some of that global warming, right? I need some of that global warming, okay? It's been cold for a long time now, right? So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like when you got 70 officers that are injured, you should be making some arrests. The operation to evict climate activists who flocked to the site of Zarath, west of Cologne, kicked off Wednesday morning and progressed steadily over the following days. Police cleared people out of farm buildings and few remaining houses and a few dozen makeshift constructions, such as tree houses. On Saturday, thousands of people demonstrated nearby against the eviction of the planned expansion of the Garzweiler coal mine. There were standoffs with police as some protesters tried to reach the village, which is now fenced off, and the mine. Environmentalists say bulldozing the village to expand the Garzweiler mine would result in a huge amount of greenhouse gas emissions. The government and utility company RWE argue that coal is needed to ensure Germany's energy security. Russia's invasion of Ukraine last February has heightened concerns for Europe to secure its energy independence from the Kremlin. Ding, 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 ding. That's exactly what's going on here, right? You could argue that Europe's dependence on natural gas in their transition to renewables is what got them in this situation in the first place with Russia, because basically they became more dependent on Russia in the name of climate change. They're using natural gas as a transition resource, and when Russia decides to cut that off, now all of a sudden energy prices and the cost of energy in Europe has skyrocketed, and these countries have realized, like, oh, we actually put ourselves at risk being dependent on Russia. So now they're rushing to go back to what is old reliable, right, which is fossil fuels, oil, and coal, which they need to power themselves to stay warm during the winter. Which it's funny, because would they rather the people of Germany freeze? Would you rather the people of Germany freeze than to burn coal to keep them warm? Or during the summers where it was hot as hell in Europe, where they had a historic heat wave, would you rather people burn to death, okay, have heat strokes, rather than burn some coal so that they can get air conditioning? I'm just saying. These people don't understand these short-term consequences to the things that they are advocating for, that people's lives become much more difficult to live when you can't depend on fossil fuels. And that's kind of the conundrum here, right? If you get off fossil fuels now, what happens is that people basically suffer from the alleged effects of climate change, in which you have more extreme, climate patterns. And then what ends up happening is that you got to start burning these fossil fuels again to mitigate the problem, because that causes short-term unrest. I'm just saying. I think that we're not going to not be able to use fossil fuels for a long, long time, and these climate activists need to accept that. Also, I never hear people like Greta ever boohoo whining and crying over all the greenhouse gas emissions from mining lithium, okay? Lithium strip mining, which they use to create these electric cars and these batteries. That creates greenhouse gas emissions a ton. She's not complaining about that. Again, it's just amazing how that works. Or really the slave labor that is being used to mine the lithium as well too, right? No complaints about that. The German regional and national governments, both of which include the environmentalist Green Party, reached a deal with RWE last year, allowing it to destroy the abandoned village in return for ending coal use by 2030. That ain't happening. Rather than 2038, the Greens leaders argue that the deal fulfills many of the environmentalist demands and save 5 other villages from demolition, and that Lutherroth is the wrong symbol for protest. Activists reject that stance. Police said in a statement Sunday that nearly 300 people have been removed so far from Lutherroth. They added that the rescue by RWE power of the two people in underground structures continues. Beyond that, the clearance by police is complete. They said that 12 people were detained in connection with Saturday's incidents. Demolition of the buildings in Luet-Sarath is already underway. On Saturday, police said Thunberg briefly sat on an embankment at the edge of the mine, and officers carried her a few steps away after she didn't comply with calls to move for her own safety. German news agency DPA reported, adding that she then went on her way. Videos show Thunberg linking arms with other protesters as police attempt to push the group of them away from the demolition site. By Monday, police said the last two protesters who had remained inside a self-dug tunnel for days to prevent heavy equipment from being brought in to bulldoze the hamlet had left the site. Wow, these people are insane. These people are absolutely insane. Again, imagine doing all this stuff to affect absolutely nothing, right? Again, even if you believe the climate science, right? What is all this going to do to bring down the rate of the increase in global temperatures? Nothing. Nada. Zip. All these people need to go to China, right? And go protest there. Okay? That might actually, who knows? That might actually help. Go protest in China. Go there first. Knock on Xi Jinping's palace doors and say, hey, we need you to stop burning fossil fuels. We need you to stop emitting greenhouse gases. And then maybe, just maybe, people will take you seriously. But until then, best of luck to you. It doesn't seem like you're changing anything. But hey, it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.